Hello, beautiful people. It's another Saturday afternoon, and today I am earlier than usual. I apologize for any inconvenience for those who always look forward to Parenting Essential. It is Oye Layo here, Oye, and I am back on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Back and let's kindly let me know in the comment section while I will try to check those who are joining me from Facebook. Hola, we are Elayo, the Vision Guide. We are both live on two platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, the Vision Guide, and on YouTube, the Vision Guide, and on LinkedIn, on Lawi Esther Oyelayo. Let me know where you're joining me from, and I'll be glad you are here with me today. We are concluding the part of teaching focus to a child. And last week I used classroom as a case study, classroom setting as a case study. I wouldn't want to recap because of time so that I can leave you and also go and get to work to what I need to do. Last week I mentioned what are the factors that could be a major, the hindrance for a child to lose focus. I spoke about the environmental, developmental, psychological is where I stopped. So I was talking about the environmental, the developmental. But today's focus is going to be on the strategies that you can use to help a child to stay focused. My main focus for today is on the strategies that you can use as a parent. And this is going to be useful for teachers also. For teachers, you have to keep learning. You have to keep learning, most especially if you're new to the job. So this is also going to help you today. My focus is strategies on teaching children how to focus. But before I go on to the strategies, I am just going to run through other factors I was not able to cover last week. Last week I've mentioned environmental, which involved the distractions, the unstructured classroom. I don't want to recap on that. I spoke about developmental, which age is part of it. Developmental disability, I explained disorder, learning disability. Those are the things I explained last week. So if you're not here, just catch up with the video from last week. All right. So I'm just quickly speak about the psychological factor that can affect a child, that will make a child to be losing focus. That is stress and anxiety. And this is one major part that many parents do not understand why a child should be stressed. Why should a child have anxiety? Children do great stress. And I remember I've treated this topic before, and I emphasized and I explained in detail that children too can be stressed. So because most of the time as parent and adult, we feel we are the one that is stressed, maybe due to work, financial constraint, and every other thing. But I want you to know for sure that children also can get stressed, they can get anxious, and these are going to affect their focus level. They can be worried about their academic performance. If it is a child, maybe average student or below average, and maybe due to what they have been hearing over the time from the teachers, from the classmates, they're not becoming less, they're feeling less of themselves. This can bring about stress. This can bring about anxiety to a child. And this is going to always give them lack of focus. They don't even know why they have to pay attention. All they are thinking is, anyways, if I do all this, I'm still going to fail anyways. So academic performances, social issues, quite a lot of things can bring about this stress for a child, Home distraction. There are quite a lot of things that might be going on in the home that can stress children. Yet, a lot of people will say, but we are not talking to that child. But we are just having issues within ourselves. What is a business? What is his business? It is his child's business. Until we know that whatever we do in the comfort of our home, either positive or negative, have a big effect on the children. That is only when we can start to help our children. Lack of motivation can be another factor that can help the child to lose focus. When a child doesn't find the right materials, interesting materials, relevant material, they are not going to be motivated. But we have all the books. Another thing is you might think you have all the materials. Let's use classroom as a case study in this case. The teachers or the school management might think they have all the materials, yet a child is still distracted. That might be because the child is already academically above that level, even though that is the class age appropriately for that child. But some children are above their level academically. For example, a child who has been taught at home, because I can categorically relate to this because I have that same issue when my children were at the kindergarten stage. At the kindergarten, when they're in KG1, they're still going to repeat the learning of sound. They're going to do the blending, blending the words. But from home, we have already gone ahead of that. They're already reading. So anytime they go to school, they have tendencies to get bored. Because what is this? We are reading at home, but we get to school, we're still going to be learning cat. They're like, what is it, mommy? This is it. I had to reassure them again and again. That is the appropriate level for the class. Just take it as a revision. Just so a child can easily lose focus if you are not a skilled parent or the teacher in charge is not skilled. Why are you not sitting down? Why are you looking around? Because what you're teaching doesn't make sense to that child. It is not appropriate to the child. Even though it is age appropriate, it is grade level appropriate, but to that child developmental stage is not appropriate. So the child will lack motivation. I believe I'm making sense. So it's not about those who are maybe the average student or below average. It can affect those who are above average also, because they find the resources and the material and the teaching, the learning to be below their standard, and they get frustrated. Also, another thing that can bring about lack of focus is low self-esteem. And low self-esteem can come about, like when I mentioned the child who is struggling academically, and they've heard over the time, are you the only one? You failed again. That gives them low self-esteem. When a child is already having a low self-esteem, automatically there will be lack of focus. A lot of things are going to be going on in their head. Psychologically, they have been affected. So when we talk about physical factors, that can be sleep deprivation. If a child is not sleeping enough, the child needs to be in class as early as possible. But because you are busy, you've gone to, if I say you've gone to church now, are you not a Christian? I am a Christian and believer of God. But we have to understand, anyways, let me just stop there. This is parenting essential because a lot of people will not get this point. So I rather keep it to myself at this point. Your child needs to sleep enough. Your child sleeping when they are going to school, following is a priority to the family. You understand this and no peace for the rest of your life. So when your child is not having enough sleep, there are age-appropriate sleeping hours. If you don't know, search for it. Ask questions. If they do not get this enough sleep, they're going to lose focus in class. They might not be sleepy, but they're not sleepy, they're active. That can even make them to be hyperactive because they are trying to be self-defense. They're feeling it in their head. They might be feeling drowsy, but because they want to stay strong, they tend to be hyperactive. There are quite a lot of things that can go wrong with this. So make sure that you're not depriving your child from sleep. And poor nutrition. But that's what we have. But there are quite a lot of things that they can give to your children. I don't want to dwell more on this physical effect, physical factors rather, that can affect your child, that will give them lack of focus. But just know, if a child doesn't have good sleep, good nutrition, medical issues can be there, and you might not even be aware. And they're telling you every time, your child is sleeping in class. Your child always sleeps in class. But you are doing your best to even give the child 10 hours sleep. You're ensuring 11 hours sleep, but yet the child is still getting to class and still feeling sleepy. Mommy, don't just shout on that child. Daddy, enough of shouting and saying, but you slept well. Please check. There might be an underlying medical issue. But these children, every time I call them victim because of our ignorance as parent and caregiver. But you slept well. Teacher said you slept all through today. Mommy, can you check, please? There might be something the child is lacking, that the child cannot even stay awake all through the class, even after having 11 hours sleep. So that can be a factor also to lack of focus. Another thing is attention-seeking behavior. We have quite a lot of them. I don't want to go in depth. They are not nothing actually wrong, but they just want all the attention from the teacher or from the siblings, if it's home, to themselves. And if they are not getting the attention, one thing is when we talk about attention for children, either it is positive or negative attention, it doesn't really matter to them. As long as I get the attention, that is it. If I don't get the positive one, if the teacher is not just talking to me directly, okay, I'm just going to make a tantrum. I'll just shout. At least that is going to be what happened to you. So that child has received what is needed. It doesn't matter if it is positive attention or negative attention. But let me go straight, because I really want to finish the strategies that you need when you're working on your child's focus today. So I'm just going to jump all my notes. But there's one important thing that I would not like to jump or to omit is excessive screen time. I believe the visionaries, we understand this in details, because it's one of the things we dealt with in the hack. Excessive screen time. Because you tell me, I don't have a nanny, and that screen is what is helping me to keep my children busy. There are quite a lot of things that you can use to keep your children busy. The screen, the iPad, the phone, the TV, it is not a babysitter. They are not a babysitter, but I'm not going to say more than that here. So when your child is having excessive screen time, they will definitely, most of the time, lose focus in the classroom, lose focus around the house. And this is one of the things that you have to look into when a child is constantly losing focus. So home stress, I've already said something similar, but I just want to jump into the strategies to address loss of focus. And I think this is most essential for me today. What are the strategies? Now that you know, or you have heard, or you want to learn the skill, that if you as a teacher or as a parent, that when you have a child who is distracted, who lack focus, what are the strategies that you can use to help the child? So I want you to know that teaching a child to stay focused in the classroom or at home, it involves a lot of combination of strategies. It's not just one way. Just like we talk about their uniqueness. Also, when we are looking for strategies to deal with these things, it is not one way. It is not one size fit all. There is no tailored approach to strategies. You have to still do your work by understanding the unique child, understanding what they need, and that is why I mentioned recognizing your child's learning style last week. These are the things that is going to help you to actually know what strategies best fit a particular child. So, engaging teaching method. This is one thing that you have to know as a parent or as a teacher. When you're looking for strategies that can help the child, you have to use an engaging teaching method. You don't just come to a child that is already confirmed that always lack focus and you're just teaching. You do this, you do that. You're not engaging the child. It's a one-way thing. You're just being the radio without a response. You cannot teach a child who lacks focus like that. You have to, even when you are teaching at home, even when you want to explain something, even when you want to teach a new skill, you might not use explanation. Talk less. Let it be engaging. Let it be practicable. Let it be activity that is fun-filled. It is very important that you engage on a very teaching method that is very engaging. It is very important. So, and it's very important for a teacher also who is dealing with a child who lacks focus to have the ability to be able to have different method of teaching. If you're a teacher, you're here, you're a parent also, but you're a classroom teacher. Please ensure that you have different method. Consider that you have different children, different kids in your class, and they are unique. Their made is different. So it's always important for you to also develop yourself and find out how can I meet each child at their level. As a teacher, focus more on meeting the child at the level, not the age. I know a lot of child doesn't want to hear this, but the ability for you to develop the skill of meeting a child at their level make you a skilled teacher. I remember they used to say those days, many years growing up, we heard this many times, that the reward of a teacher is in heaven. Don't worry, God is going to reward you here. But do the work with passion. Don't just go into teaching because you want the money. Don't do it for the money. I know you don't want to hear, some people don't want to hear this now. Do it for the passion because it's work. So you have to develop yourself and have different teaching styles. You have to ensure a structured environment. Don't forget I mentioned last week that one of the things that make children to lack focus is an unstructured environment. So it's your job as a teacher, as a parent, if you're talking about parents who dealing with their children at home, to ensure that your house, your home is structured. How can I structure my home? I don't understand these things. Get to the hack. We can do that here. I understand what you're saying, but how can I put structure at home? How can I put structure? We cannot do that on Parenting Essential. We don't have all the time. When you get to the hack, we teach these things bit by bit, step by step, on how to put structure in place in your home. And that is the beginning of you helping your child to stay focused. So supportive environment is another thing that you have to ensure. Make sure you have a supportive intervention, especially with children with developmental issue, maybe developmental delay, learning disability, learning disorder. It is very important, if you are a teacher here, not just to say, it doesn't matter, management will not. I know a lot of schools, the management, they don't want to hear this. You should be able to do it. Sometimes you might not be able to do it alone as a teacher, especially when you're doing it with early year or key stage 1. If you have a child with a learning disability or, for example, ADHD in the classroom, and the child does not have a shadow teacher, it might be tough. And the sad thing is, it might have a negative effect on the other children. We are not saying we don't love this child, but we have to remember we have to love every other child in the picture and do what is right. We get too emotional sometimes, thinking about one child and affecting every other 19 other children. I love every child. I don't give up any children. I've been privileged to work with children for the last almost 2 decades of my life. And I don't think I've gotten to the point of giving up on any child, because I strongly believe that every child is teachable. However, I always ensure that if the child needs a shadow or extra hands, I don't get emotional to say I will do it when I know I have 19 other children to deal with. I have 15 other children to deal with. That will not be fair on their part. So as a teacher, I don't know how you're going to go about it. I know some management can be so tough, but this is something you have to look into. It is very important. You have to ensure that you have a supportive intervention. Have a supportive intervention so that you don't end up, affecting other children. It might be a specialized support. If you notice something and you're sure about it, you don't have to keep to yourself. You can speak to the management so that the child can get the support as soon as possible. That is why we say early intervention is key. Another thing that you have to do when we're dealing with this, and one of the strategies that you have to use when all you hear from your child's school most of the time is your child doesn't focus, your child is doing this, is to engage in parental involvement. It is not your duty at this point to say, but I pay school fees. Hello. Hey. Hello. I pay school fees. Why are they always complaining? Don't forget that your child is not the only child in the classroom. It is very important to be determined to know that this work is actually your work. You have sent the child to school just for the support. And as long as the child is still in school, there is need for parental involvement. You have to work hand in hand with the teacher. That is why I said something last week, that it's your job to understand your child's learning style. And when your child gets to a new school or a new classroom, your job is to meet up with the class teacher to say, this and this is my child. This is my child learning style. You are not teaching them their job, but you're making their job easier, because it will take them extra weeks, maybe months, to understand each new unique child in the classroom. So that is very important. But you have to know that this process must start from home. Start the process from home. Part of your parental involvement is you sitting your child down to work on these things. Start an activity gradually, which I will quickly explain this before we leave here today. What you can do, how you can go about it. At home, when you start it at home, then you can work hand in hand with the teacher, but not just saying, I'm here to support you. No, you're not supporting the teacher. The teacher is actually supporting you. These are where we have misplacement of priority. You are not the one supporting the teacher. It's your job, but the teacher is supporting you. You don't want to hear, right? Because you're paying millions. All right. Well, that is just the truth. Okay. All right. So make sure that you have parental involvement. Another thing you have to do is foster a positive learning environment at home. Don't forget, I've already mentioned that you start at home. So I will try to explain a little bit on how you can go about it at home. It is very important for you to foster, to encourage a positive learning environment at home. You can't just say, go and pick your book and read. You're always distracted. It doesn't work like that. What you're saying, if you say that, doesn't even make any sense to that child. Pick your book and read. You're always distracted. You don't sit down. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work the life. So you have to have a designated place, a quiet place, if you have the space. But trust me, you can always create the space. Even if you're staying in the studio, you can always create a space, even if it's this much tiny. Have a designated quiet place. Distraction should be less or zero distraction at your home, especially for homework time, for study time. Have a study corner. It's going to help you a lot. That's the first thing. Let the child know that this is what we do here. It gives them a sense of responsibility, sort of, to know that we have a study corner. We have a quiet place that is not a quiet corner because I'm on punishment, but because I want to enjoy my studies. This is going to help you a lot. It's going to help the child much more. So do not teach too many things at a time. If you know your child is struggling, maybe they are doing phonics, for example, Johnny Phonics, and they are on group 1, and the teacher said, we have finished group 1. Your child did not get any points. Your child does not even know, maybe cannot even call SAT. Don't, because of that, put pressure on the child. No. Don't teach too many things at a time. You now step in. And it's not supposed to be, I'm not supposed to be use the word step in. It's actually your job. Don't teach too many things at a time because the teacher is saying the child does not know all the 6 sounds in group 1. Just pick 1 sound per time or pick 3 sounds depending on the child's stage at the moment. Don't just give pressure in the name. You want to teach focus. So don't teach many things at a time. 1 thing at a time, maybe 3 things at a time. That I can't tell you. You are the one that understands the child better. So it's another thing is don't teach side by side. You're teaching your child at home because the child lacks focus. So let's assume you are sitting like this at home. Please, this is very important. If you are there, I want you to pay attention. Who is there? Is anybody there on Facebook listening to this? If you are there, can you just say, hello, I'm here, and let me know you are there so that we know that I am teaching some people and I don't have to waste my time, right? Anyways, people will always watch the video. So if you're teaching your child at home, for example, it shouldn't be side by side. It should be face to face. You sit here, you ask your child to come sit here. For a child who doesn't have much focus, that is not going to work. It's a wrong strategy. Let the child be in front. Let it be face to face instead of side by side. Is that clear? It is very important. Teach that face to face, not side by side. So the face to face will be facing you, and that's also we encourage eye contact. You look at the child's body. The child is looking at your body. The child is looking at your mouth. Ensure the child is looking at your mouth. That we already getting the eye contact. The child is looking at the way you are speaking. Make a very close proximity. Don't forget that you're working on something that the child lacks. Focus. So at this point, you are your child's therapist. Make a close proximity. Don't give room for distractions. Don't keep the child by your side, but face to face. So you are not going to be, intrusive. Don't. You have to put everything that's going to be a distraction, even from you, aside. At this point, it is not the time for you to also receive a call. You have to have a dedicated or allocated time for these. And if possible, in fact, I would advise you to put your phone away totally. Because if you have your phone with you, you might have a message that you want to check. You might have a call that you want to pick. And that is going to disturb or obstruct the process. Put that phone away just for a few minutes, maybe 30 minutes max. Because you are teaching the child focus. And when you pick a call, you are still teaching your child that it's okay to get distracted. Because at the moment, you are modeling distraction for that child. And it's not going to help so much. So it is very important for you to know all those things. This is why, you cannot say I paid. I paid. No, the teacher is not going to help you do this. I paid the school fees will not work at this point. The teacher will not help you do everything you need to do for your child in your home. I'll say that again. Get into the child's space. It will help a lot with the focus. It will establish eye contact. Don't forget again, no room for any form of distraction. It is very, very important. If you're not taking anything away from today, please keep this with you. Ensure you have some physical contact with the child. After you have a close proximity, have a physical contact, like maybe you're giving high five, maybe you're touching the child on the shoulder when you're talking. Ensure as you're talking, your gesture, gesticulating, there is need for you to touch the child. High five is there if you're comfortable with that. It's your child anyways. You can even tap the chin occasionally to ensure consistency in the focus level. Are you getting something today? This is very important. Don't forget you are helping your child, and ensure that everything that you're going to need throughout this process is going to be available. Another thing you have to put in place, you have to be in a very good state in your mental health for you to help your child when we come to focus level. If you are not mentally stable, if you are not mentally calm, you will not be able to help your child throughout this process. Because at this point, you need maximum calmness. You cannot be upset because the child is not responding as you think the child should respond. You cannot yell. That brings me back to, have you registered to our Stay Calm, No Yelling? That is coming in 2 weeks and it's totally free. Make sure you register. It's great. It's costing nothing. If you want, anyways. If you want, because it's totally free. Why should I beg you to come and register? All right, back to my point today. So you have to be in a very good mental state. Your calmness is very important at this point. Your confidence, because sometimes we in our mind, we always think, the child cannot listen. By default, we think, we are not even sure we believe what we are doing. You have to ensure you believe the process before you start. Believe your child can stay focused. You have to believe your child can learn. When you have this belief, your child can see, read behind your face. Your child can see from your contact, from your body language that you don't even believe, because confidence will not be there. Let's just do it anyway. I'll just try my best. Don't go ahead helping your child with this mindset. The mindset of my child can and my child will. That gives the confidence that you need to help your child throughout this process. And that will help you to put the energy needed. Positive mindset. I cannot overemphasize that. And make sure that all the tools and materials that will be needed are available before you start. For example, maybe you want to do a pre-writing, or you want to do tracing, or you want to do coloring. All these materials should be ready. No, the book after you start. Oh, the pencil you're standing. No, you're not going to achieve that. Ensure that whatever you need are all set before you start. Don't forget, we are working on staying focused. If you forget the pencil, for example, the marker, the sharpener, or maybe you are even doing some fine motor activities, maybe you want to use peg, some interlocks, and you don't even have everything on board. Oh, sorry, let me get that. That is, you are modeling what you want to teach the child. What you are modeling the wrong behavior you're trying to correct in the life of your child. So you have to be stable yourself. You have to stay focused. And that's why I always tell parents, you want to teach your child, for example, we're talking about focus, but we want to teach. But throughout this process, even the materials and the resources, the tools you need, you didn't remember to put them. So are you not going to work on yourself first before you try to work on your child? Who do you think needs help in this case? Because many times we just say, my child this, my child that. If you can always reflect on ourselves to see this thing I want to work on my child, if I work on myself first, my child is going to automatically learn it. The child will not struggle. You don't even remember you are supposed to put the book together. You also lack focus, but you can't teach what you don't have. Am I coming for you today? That's not my point today. I don't want to get you upset. How many minutes do I have left? Okay, all right. I'm going to be rounding up because I don't want to come back to this next week. So you have to ensure the tools, the materials, everything is ready. So that helps you to manage the distraction. That helps you to manage, to ensure There are no distractions, You have to limit electronic devices. I don't need to tell you that. I spoke about the excessive screen time. I don't want to talk about that. Do you have media plan in your house? Do you know what you want in your social space? Do you know what screen time you want to do per day? Please, I don't want to go into that today, but just ensure that you limit screen time. Any screen, and this involves your phone to your child, the iPad. It's not about the television alone. The child is already distracted. Please help the child. Help your child. It's very, very important. I'm going to be rounding up soon. So in case you have any points you can or question, please put it down. So another thing you have to do is to be very clear about what you are going to do. For example, if you're teaching your child at home, you want to start working on your child's focus. Don't forget, one, you are the therapist at the point. And it is very important to communicate clearly, effectively with that child. Your communication must be age appropriate, must be clear enough, must be understood. So, one of the ways you can go about this is to be very clear about what is going to happen, that time. For example, if you want to work on your child's phonics because the child is not focusing enough in school, please tell the child, today we are going to be working on 3-letter sounds, after which you can step out into the garden to jump through some hurdles, and we can walk through after that, we're going to be able to walk through the balance beam. You're already giving something to the child to look forward to. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'll take that again. I'm not sure that is clear enough. You're working on the child's focus. Make sure you communicate what is going to happen before you start. Communicate what is going to happen before you start. It is very, very important to communicate what is going to happen before you start. Don't just say, we do this, we do that. No, speak to the child. Don't forget the close proximity, face-to-face, the language, your touching, the energy, your calmness. It is very important. Today, we are going to be working on some phonics or some letter sounds from the group 1 of Jolly Phonics. And we are going to be doing this, for example, maybe you're doing blending. We're going to be doing some blending through the first group of Jolly Phonics today. You give high five, you smile, you let the child look at your lips, you look at the child, give a smile to give the eye contact again. And as we pick the sounds one by one, we're going to add another one, making 3, and we're going to be rubbing them off as we are done with them. The moment we are done with all these sounds, then we can go into the garden or go into the play area and do some swing or slide down. Just put something that you know that the child will always look forward to immediately when you explain that. But if you think that activity is going to give your child an higher arousal, get your child to an higher arousal level, it's okay, let the child do it. But immediately say, once we're done with swinging or jumping on the trampoline, we are going to go back and work on the balance beam, because that activity is going to bring that child back to the optimum level. That is going to bring back the focus they are trying to learn. Coordination is going to help you control and coordination. So you have to be very skilled to help your child. Don't just pay the money and blame the school. Don't just pay the money and say, but we paid. I hope today's session has really helped somebody. Even the person is not here, I'm sure this video is going to bless somebody today. So you have to ensure these things are in place. When you are making sure that the activity of the day is passed across clearly to the child, ensure that it's super clear. Be specific with what is going to happen. Let the child understand that we're going to do this now, but after that, I am going to jump. After that, I'm going to the play area. You have already given the child something to look forward to. And I'm going to be rounding up today. Yes, and that's it. I'm going to be rounding up today. I want to stop. I think those are the main point that I want to talk about. The others I can just leave. But if I tell my child, maybe that's what you're thinking at the moment. When we finish, we're going to go and jump. But once my child is jumping, I cannot calm the child down. That means you didn't listen to what I explained prior to this. Because no matter how active your child is, no matter how you think your child lacks focus, you have to still promote physical activities. You have to. You cannot take that child out of the space of having that physical activity because of the fear of that child will not listen again. No, you just need to learn the skill you need to get your child through that process, have a very physical activity, a very big gross motor that can get the child. Maybe you think hyper, I will use that, but end it up with something that is going to calm the child. It's going to help a lot. And I'm going to be calling it a day today. If you have any question, you can just do well and drop it. Another thing, I'm just going to help. Let me end with this. I know I said I was going to stop, but I think this is going to bless somebody. Another thing that we do most of the time is when we are trying to teach our children throughout this phase of their life, we do not understand the difference between question, statement, and instruction. These three things are very important. Many of us as parents, when we are supposed to ask questions, we are making a statement. When you're supposed to make a statement, we are asking questions. When we're supposed to give instruction, we are making a statement or either asking questions. And this is going to be one major thing that is not going to make you see results. And if you don't know on time, you're going to get frustrated. Oh, coach, you don't understand. I've done my best. Can you calm down? You have done what you think is your best, but that is not your best. What you call that best is not good enough. Trust me, you still have that best in you. All you need to do is to have a touch of the appropriate skill needed. That's why we have a lot of programs. See, I'm doing all this information teaching. I wish you are here to teach you practically. I go to people's house. If you're in Doha environment, please give us a shout. I'm going to come to your house, guide you over the week, 8 sessions straight. But it's not free. I hope you know. Do you understand that? There are ways to go about these things. That is why parenting is a learned skill. You have to learn. Nobody is I'm born a parent. I became a parent. No, that's not what we're talking about here. You have to learn it. You have to learn it. You have to, especially in this generation that we find ourselves, you have to learn it. All right, let me quickly round up with this point. Maybe I have 1 or 2 things I can drop for somebody that have to know that, am I asking a question or I'm supposed to make a statement? Am I supposed to give an instruction now? I'm supposed to ask a question. If you don't know these things, it's going to be difficult for you to help your child. It's going to be very difficult. You want to teach your child, it's time to study, then you're saying, it is time to study now, but you see the child still running around the house. Let's assume the child is baby A. Let me just call the child baby A. Or let me call the child Victor. Victor, it is time to study now, but you see Victor is running around, throwing the ball in the house, doing puzzles. You get tired, but why is Victor not listening? I thought Victor, it's time to study now. You are not giving an instruction. You just made a statement. My dear, hello. Victor is still running around the house. Victor is still trying to go and build blocks. Victor, I said it is time to study now. Okay, mommy. Okay, daddy. Victor doesn't understand what you're saying. Why not make it clear? Don't make a statement. And if you also, some people will also ask questions. Are you ready to study now? When you know that it's not an option. Don't ask questions when it's not an option. If you don't need the child's opinion, please don't ask questions. Let's work on the way we come up with our statements. Some of us is just mannerism. We don't even know that we are the problem here. Our mannerism is to ask questions when we're supposed to make statements or give instruction. Work on yourself. Victor, are you ready to study now? Victor is not listening. Victor, you ask a question. Victor can choose to study or not to study. So don't ask. It is time to study now. Victor is not listening because that's just a statement. Why not say, Victor, it is time for you to stop the play, clean up, sit down at the study corner, wiggle your fingers and keep your hands on your leg while mommy is going to be in front of you and we have a great time to study. It's different. What I just said now is different from Victor, it's time to study. Victor, we want to study. Stop playing the victim and let's up our game in our parenting. And that's enough. I'm just going to stop. All right. Do we have any question today? I want to say hello and thank you for all for joining me today. Who is there who has joined me today? Am I even live? All right. Let me check. I can see myself live. All right. Okay. All right, I'm live. Okay. All right, that's it. Okay, I can see myself live. All right, thank you all for joining me today. I believe there is something for somebody in this session today. You might not be here, but I believe this video is going to bless as many people as possible. And if you don't mind, please help us share. Help us share. You might not need this video directly, but I'm sure somebody somewhere needs this video. You might share with friends and family. It's also live on YouTube. You can go to our YouTube and share the link. It's going to bless somebody. Our Instagram, we're there. Just share with somebody. I'm sure this is going to bless somebody. I want to say thank you for joining me today. This is Parenting Essential, and it's coming to you from the Vision Guide. And for the last 2 weeks, last week and today, I've been talking about teaching your child focus. And the emphasis on today is the strategies that you can use to help your child stay focused. And I believe somebody has gotten something today. All right, I want to say as we go, don't forget that parenting must be intentional. Intentionality is what will make you to see that you are your child's first therapist. The purpose, it must be full of purpose, must be purposeful. That is when you know that I don't just pay school fees. It's my job. I'll do it while the school give me the support needed. You are not giving the school support. The school is giving you the support. The statement is not it's not a popular demand or popularly believed. But let me tell you, it's just the truth. It's just the truth. All right, I want to say thank you for joining me, K-Shep. Thank you for joining me today. I can cite you there. And those who are there that didn't drop a comment, I want to say thank you for joining me today. All right, my name is Oyelayo, but you can call me Coach Oye for short. I'm your parenting coach, and I'll be back next Saturday, back to our regular time, I believe. But if there's any change, I'm going to say it prior to the time. And as we go, don't forget that carry the vision jealously. Let the vision guide you in your parenting. Let the vision guide you. Your child, that child, the precious one you hold in your hand, is teachable. That child is unique, amazing. That child is teachable. Do your best, give your best in peace. Don't forget what I said, the boldness, your calmness, your physical contact, face to face. It is very important when you are helping your child through learning focus. All right, bye for now and stay blessed. Stay blessed. I love you. God bless. Deep into the word and talking about deep into the word. I just